you need a brand audit? Well, in my opinion, the short answer to that question is yeah, you probably do. But it's actually a little bit more detailed than that. Let's figure out exactly where you're at today in this episode of Mwah TV. Today I want your help, because you haven't really given what's new time to really Today, I want to help you work out if you need a brand audit. If you recognize following today's episode that actually it's not something that's top of priority for your business right now, I've still got some really helpful recommendations, things that you can do on your own in your own time frame, so that when the time does roll around that you're ready for a brand audit, you've got everything ready to go in place. You might also want to take this moment to click the subscribe button so that you know I'm going to be easier to find when the time rolls round for that brand audit. You can come back and watch this again and just refresh your mind. Let's clear off first of all then when you don't need a brand audit. If you just invested in rebranding your business, or you've just set up a brand completely new and from scratch, then there's kind of nothing to test yet. So a brand audit would kind of be pointless at this stage. Before you hit exit though, I want to leave you with some really important recommendations. These are the things that you can be doing right now, so that in 6 months' time, when you're a little bit more ready for a brand audit, you have all of the things in place. So the first thing I want to remind you about is monthly reporting. If you're not running monthly reporting on your marketing, then start doing this now as a part of your new brand or your rebrand. Capturing quantitative measurements of how your website is performing. So this could involve how many hits you got, what your bounce rate was, which pages of your website people were exiting from the most, and the duration of the visit are all great ways to start getting numerical information about how your brand experience on your website is working for you. If you know that you're going to use this brand to help you drive more traffic to your website through social media, and that could involve content as well, then you probably want to start capturing monthly readings of how all of this is working for you. This is what you use to prove that your strategy is or isn't right. Avoid getting blinded though by the vanity metrics. So it doesn't really matter how many followers you have. By all means, you can still track this if this is part of your monthly reporting, but it's not the be all and the end all. Take a look at which posts from the previous month performed the best, and then you can check the demographic data, people who are interacting with your social media, and figure out if that demographic matches the people that you're trying to sell to. It would also be a great idea at this stage to begin some qualitative research on the way that your new brand goes down. You can go about doing this on your own as well. It doesn't have to be large scale. You just need to ask a small collection of real life clients open-ended questions to try and capture their interpretation of the new brand. Questions like, how does the new brand feel to you? Do you feel like this new brand is directly speaking to you? What do you like least about this new brand? How would you describe the new brand to somebody you know as a friend or a colleague who actually needs the thing that you're selling? You would insert service name there or the product name. Actively capturing this data on a monthly basis is going to stand you in really good stead for 6 months' time. In 6 months' time, you're going to be in a much better position to actually start thinking about a brand audit, but actually doing monthly readings like this on your business should kind of be commonplace. You want to use the information of what's gone on last month to help you inform or tweak things a little bit for what you want to do next month. This is how you make sure that your annual plan sticks to what you actually want to achieve. You sometimes have to pivot a little bit, but you still want to get to the same place. Like I said before, make sure you stick around here on Mwah TV. We're going to be going into this in a lot more detail. So we're going to be looking at that final outcome after you've done all of this measurement, the whole reason behind why you need to do brand auditing in the first place. 7 signs you really need a brand audit. Let's switch this round then and look at some easy indicators. So these are signs that can show up in your business, and these all indicate that doing a brand audit is probably a really good idea. This is a quick overview and we're going to be going into this in more detail later. Team issues. Do you keep on having issues with your team? By this, I mean a lot of little niggles. Niggles about the way that your clients or your customers are being treated by other members of your team. Maybe with the way that they're handling inquiries. The most insidious indicator is where sales have just dropped a little bit, or maybe you've seen a reduction in loyalty-based purchases in your business, or your member churn has gone a little bit higher, just a little bit higher than usual. When your team do not live and breathe your brand like you do, guess what? It damages your brand. But this is absolutely your responsibility to rectify. And this is a brand problem. Knowing exactly where these tiny little niggle issues are takes a really detailed investigation, and it needs to be impartial as well. Time wasters. Feeling bombarded with time wasters in your business is a real problem. I know when you're struggling to get any inquiries into your business, you would look at this scenario and think that it's a champagne problem, but it is still definitely a problem. This takes up a valuable amount of time. So this is valuable time that you could be spending on getting more sales in, working with people who don't want to waste your time, or you could be taking that time to do more business development. Handling time wasters and managing how they get into your business is also a brand problem. Whether it's direct or indirectly, you're putting something out there that is attracting these time wasters into your business. And working out how to remedy this problem in your brand takes quite a lot of detailed investigation work. Real competition. We often assume that people who do something similar to us are our competition. That's not true. You might do something similar or create the same sort of thing that another person does, but it's highly unlikely that you want to serve the exact same person at the exact same price with the exact same type of service. So by real, I mean direct competition. You can actually see a lot more information on this episode here. This is where I compare the photography industry to the fish market. If you know for sure that you actually do have direct competition and they're starting to chomp a little bit at your heels, then you actually have a brand problem on your hands. This can be such an emotional experience for any business owner. So getting an impartial read on what's actually going on without all of the emotions involved is a really valuable way to determine how you're going to tackle this problem. And you do that through a brand audit. Complaints. Any complaint is a huge red flag, regardless of how big or small the problem might seem to you. We live in a time where the customer experience is crucial to making a business a successful business. Again, the way you handle and process complaints can feel like a really emotional thing when you're a business owner. Now, lots of different types of complaints or repeated complaints could be a really good indicator that you have a brand problem. This is what's known as a brand problem that's under the line or below the line. The right type of investigation needs to take place when you're in this situation. And this is done to make sure that you're processing and you're informing people of the brand experience in the right way. And when you do this right, you rule out complaints entirely. Income plateau. When you hit an income plateau, it is so easy to write it off as something that's not your problem. We blame the government, we blame the weather, we blame the season. It's easier to point the finger than take responsibility. Yes, I'm looking at you. To help you take responsibility, an impartial brand audit is probably a good idea for you. You can put your Peter Pointers back in the pocket, then get your finger back out again and do some proper brand work. Time. As business owners, we are in a perpetual state of juggling, keeping the sales coming in, keeping the finances in order, creating content, networking, email, managing a team. Oh, I'm working on key projects as well. Then there's all the life stuff, running a house, buying the groceries, laundry, family time, but I do some self-care in there, exercise. Oh, and I need to sleep as well. Whew, that is a lot. When you just have not got any spare time left in your working week, It's really easy to get sucked into a little bit of a procrastination cycle when you start thinking about trying to do the right types of investigation work that you need to do on your brand. The problem with this is that the longer you leave it and you keep pushing this to the bottom of your to-do list, the problems that exist actually start to get worse. Just delegate this, get it off your plate, get someone else to do it, and then you can really be present and focus in on leading the work that needs to happen to make sure that your brand keeps growing and keeps working for you in the right way. Today's episode of More TV was brought to you by Laura Pearman's Discography Call. If you're thinking I could be just the lady to help you get better results from your brand, then I'd like to take the opportunity to invite you to come and take a look at my Discography Call. Just like getting to know each other over your music collection, come and tell me all about your greatest hits, as well as the times where that idea charted at 102. To find out more, please visit www.laurapearman.com/discography-call. I'm looking forward to it. Accuracy. Any audit, doesn't matter what industry it's in, doesn't matter what it's measuring, is all steeped in a few things. Details, 100% accuracy, and it has to be impartial. Kind of starting a few investigations in a willy-nilly sort of way is not going to result in good quality data at the end of it. And it's this quality data that you're going to be pinning all of your future strategy on. When you know it's probably a good idea to get some solid data to back up your intuitive hunches that you use as a business owner, a brand audit is a really great idea. If you've enjoyed figuring out with me today if you need a brand audit, then you're probably going to enjoy these episodes up next. Mwah! Now before you go anywhere, don't forget to subscribe.